Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next edition of The Truth is Out There from the Maryville University Library. My name is Kyle. I'll be talking you through some examples of and resources related to the topic of plagiarism. As always, the best place to go look for resources for your classes, for your needs for assignments, or to learn a little bit more about plagiarism itself is going to be the main Maryville University website, maryville.edu/library. So, figured today, talking about plagiarism, it helps to have an idea around just what plagiarism is. So, coming from the Oxford Reference Dictionary, we're going to define plagiarism as the practice of taking someone else's work or ideas and passing them off as one's own. Even though I got this from the Oxford Reference Dictionary, which you can find linked in this presentation, if you were to go to the Maryville University Library website and type in plagiarism, not only would you find most of the resources I'm going to be talking about here today, but shown in the picture below, you could also find a research starter provided by the Salem Press Encyclopedia, which gives a good definition about plagiarism and talks about it in context to academia. So, also helps to know just a few examples of plagiarism. This is not just something that happens to high school students when copying math homework. This is something that happens to real people. Everything from presidential candidates, to famous scientists, to New York Times journalists, even to first ladies of the United States. No one is safe from plagiarism, everyone must be concerned with plagiarism, and it's something to keep in mind whenever you're creating a new creative work or presenting something to the public. There are also some examples of plagiarism that may be or might not be plagiarism. I've listed down a few examples here that I'm showing in the live presentation, but you could also look up for yourself and try to decide, are these examples of plagiarism? In the case on the left for the musicians, there's a famous case between the famous rock band Spirit, which is the picture in the upper left-hand corner, suing the famous band Led Zeppelin for the fact that Spirit's song Taurus sounds a lot like Led Zeppelin's song Stairway to Heaven. What's now occurring is in the past few years, there's a band from Michigan named Greta Van Fleet, whose music is specifically and intentionally emulating the sound of Led Zeppelin. People have wondered if that's plagiarism, people have wondered if that's copying, people have wondered if that's paying homage to Led Zeppelin. While the dispute between Spirit and Led Zeppelin is now pretty settled in terms of the legal case, kind of the court of public opinion between Greta Van Fleet and Led Zeppelin is still ongoing. Take a listen to some of their music, see what you think. There's also the case of art on the right-hand side. People have wondered what exactly, in terms of reproducing art, counts as copying, counts as plagiarism, or counts as remixing. In this example, you've got the famous painting Mona Lisa on the top, and on the bottom left, people have wondered if taking a photo of the original Mona Lisa and posting that in various online blogs, social media, would be considered plagiarism. People have also wondered if using that photo of Mona Lisa, or the portrait of Mona Lisa, and remixing it, as you see in the bottom right-hand corner, that someone did on a pillow, would be considered plagiarism. While plagiarism itself is a pretty straight-up concept, using someone's artistic, creative endeavor for your own purposes and not giving them credit, there is an element to plagiarism in kind of a broader sense of copyright. Issues like fair use, issues like remixing, issues like sampling, that you can find through the library website. You can also find through some of the resources I'll explain here today. Speaking of those resources, let's take a look at a few. One of the main things you'll find on the Truth is Out There Plagiarism LibGuide are going to be some standard ebooks and resources that we have at the library. Obviously, one of the first ones, and the most important, is going to be the Complete Guide to Referencing and Avoiding Plagiarism. Great reference tool to have, great thing to poke through, especially if you happen to be starting down the path of creating research assignments and creating papers. However, there are other resources listed in the LibGuide that you'll be able to find that are a little more in-depth. There's the example here of the ebook Plagiarama, William Wells Brown and the Aesthetic of Attraction. This is a study about a man named William Wells Brown who was an abolitionist, an antagonist of Frederick Douglass as is listed below, but he was also a plagiarist. He copied 87,000 words from close to 300 texts in his work. So the author here, Jeffrey Sanborn, is trying to dive into William Wells Brown's life to see Is he plagiarizing for the sake of stealing? Is he plagiarizing for the sake of spreading a message? What exactly is the intent behind the plagiarism of William Wells Brown? You'll find resources like this, and like the complete guide to understanding and avoiding plagiarism, on the Truth Is Out There Plagiarism LibGuide that will be published today. Some other non-ebook resources you could find are going to be access to databases we have at the library. One of these is LinkedIn Learning. You'll have a separate link that will also be uploaded that you'll need to make an account, but what's helpful for LinkedIn Learning is that you're going to be able to find training videos, articles, and tutorials about a number of key tasks, skills, and things that will be important for the workplace, including some work with plagiarism. You can find examples of what it is and how to avoid it, how plagiarism matches with copyright infringement, the importance of citations, the importance of checking your grammar, spelling, and style. All of these are going to be quick, easy, informative videos to help understand the nature of plagiarism. Speaking of understanding plagiarism, it's also important, like I told you at the beginning, that plagiarism is ongoing. There are still cases coming up nowadays that we can find. So I've linked in our subscription to the New York Times automatically with plagiarism typed into the search bar. So you can see some of the stories that are going on right now. Examples of cheating, criminal actions taking place in podcasts, accusations against famous persons. There's a whole wide range of stories that you can find related to plagiarism that are happening right now. It's important to keep up on this information as well. Moving on from databases, let's talk a little bit about outside resources. I'm sure for those of you that have made, created, and researched academic papers before, you're familiar with things like EasyBib. Now, EasyBib is great if you're looking to create citations from your academic sources, your academic resources. Also things like Purdue Owl. Both of these are invaluable tools to use when you're trying to create citations, format them, and ensure that you're not plagiarizing. And both of these have been linked on the LibGuide as well. However, there's a few resources you might not have come across or stumbled across that I'd like to include as well. One of them is going to be a link to a separate LibGuide that was created by Maryville librarians, all discussing citation help. It takes the content from EasyBib, from Purdue Owl, and a number of other sources, and condenses it all in one place. So instead of having to save a few different websites, bookmark a few different websites, you can just bookmark this Citation Hub website and get everything you need, from citation quick guides to information about specific sources, how to cite images, how to create hanging indents, everything you'll need to ensure that the papers you're creating are scholarly and free of plagiarism can be found really right here in the Citation Help LibGuide. Finally, there's a few videos I'd like to highlight as well related to plagiarism. I will link a few videos into the LibGuide that will include, like in the past, some basic information about plagiarism, what it is, how to avoid it. But there's a few examples, kind of like the William Wells Brown case, that I'd like to point out as well. There have been presentations by academics at the TED Talk conferences that discuss a little bit about this idea of plagiarism and copyright, but taking it from a unique angle. For example, this TED Talk from 2007 by Lawrence Lessig is titled Laws That Choke Creativity. He's talking about the need to reinvent our culture of creativity, that copyright laws may be too restrictive, that the manner of trading, sharing, remixing information has become far too constrained. So Lawrence Lessig is trying to advocate a breaking away from that. In a similar vein, you've got information like you can find here through some of our databases called Films on Demand that talks about plagiarism in the modern age. It's no longer people searching through books and cutting and copying lines of information. With the advent of the internet and with the advent of everyone being directly connected most days, plagiarism has taken on a whole new identity. Then lastly, for a little bit more of a fun side of things, there are videos like the one you can find with Mark Ronson. He's going to be someone who created a video all focused on the idea of sampling music. that many people think sampling music is all focused on, oh, they're stealing content, oh, they're stealing clips from other musicians. Well, Mark Ronson, the famous producer and artist behind the song Uptown Funk, is making the case that sampling has transformed music and allowed it to take on a whole new identity and a whole new character. So with that covers a lot of the resources we're going to be discussing in the live presentation of the Plagiarism Truth is Out There session. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or need for help with plagiarism, you can stop by the Maryville University Library, visit our website at maryville.edu/library, and then utilize our 24/7 chat service to get help whenever you need it with whatever you need. Thanks very much. Have a great day.